Hey, Giant fans. Welcome to the Giant Insider Podcast. My name is Jerry Foley. I'm the senior editor of the Giant Insider newspaper. And with me, as always, is my partner, Chris Bisignano, the beat writer for the Giant Insider. Well, Chris, I know we talked about discussing the Eagle game last Thursday night, but I got to be honest with you, buddy. I'm not in the mood. It's past me. I don't want to bring up the bad memory. I think what we can discuss is kind of where this team is right now, and rather than the sarcastic, everyone kind of knows where this team is now. Kind of going forward, some of the topics that people are asking about, and for one of the first times on this podcast, we're going to get to the Twitter questions from a lot of our Twitter followers, and even some of the ones that were not graphic, but to the point, I'll say. We'll get to those as well. But the hottest topic right now, buddy, is Kyle Lauletta. And he seems to be the most popular person in the Meadowlands. On a losing team, the backup quarterback typically is. So my question for you, who is around the team all the time, what's the likelihood of seeing Lauletta, and when do you think we would see him?
Well, I think there's a very good likelihood we're going to see him down the road, because this team is going nowhere. I don't think they're going to make the Davis Webb mistake, what happened last year. And I would say when we're going to see Lauletta, what are we, 1 of 5, Jerry?
I guess it depends on how bad the next couple weeks could be, right? I mean, if they play Monday night and they lose 34-3 or something like that. Not that Lauletta is going to play against the Redskins, but right now he's the third string quarterback. I don't know how much he's getting in practice. He'll get moved up on the depth chart first, and then Shermer will probably start getting him ready to go into a game, whether that's right after the bye or a few games after the bye. But to your point, they're going nowhere. I think personally, the next couple of games are going to determine when Lauletta gets in.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, if they win Monday night, then it's 2-4, and there'll be no talk of that, right? If they lose Monday night, now you're looking at the bye week, right? That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
I'll start getting them more and more, ready in practices. And then, like you said, after the bye week, I would assume he would start being active, and then he'll start getting in games. Just to see what they have with him. There'll be plenty of time after the bye week. There'll be, there'll be 5-6 games left, whatever it be. And there'll be plenty of action, right, to see what he looks like. So that's what I'm figuring, Jerry.
Yeah, before we get to the Twitter questions, one question that you posed yesterday, which, man, I got to be honest, I found the answers fascinating, to say the least. Yeah. You asked, do the Giants give Landon Collins a big contract? And I don't think I've ever seen it split so down the middle with the responses. I mean, it went from, amazing. Of course, what are you, an idiot, to, of course not, what are you, an idiot? And I think Collins has taken a step back. I think his tackling is poor now. I don't think he's anywhere near to what he was in 2016. And oddly, last year, I didn't think he was either, but I blamed a lot of that on injuries. I know he had the ankle issue. I don't know if he had a forearm or wrist issue last year, an arm issue I know he had. But this year, he's just resorted to some bad habits. He's not wrapping up. His coverage isn't there. His coverage was never great. I mean, he's more of a hard hitter, more of almost a linebacker playing safety. But I couldn't believe, Bud, I don't know what you thought, but the responses were so vast and so far apart. It was either kind of like either you're with us or against us on that one.
Yeah, it was amazing, right? It was basically down the middle. I mean, either a lot of people saying, no, he's not playing like he did in 16. I don't want him around. Other people like, yeah, you got to sign this kind of long-term contract. He's better than everything we have. He's one of the best safeties in football. Yeah. So I found that's why I love throwing those questions out there, Jerry, just to see what, the followers, what they're thinking. And I tell you, I love doing that because it's just amazing, right? Reading the both ends of the whole spectrum, man. It's just, some people love him, some people don't want to see him. A lot of people said franchise him, which is interesting, right? I mean, that's definitely going to be an option.
That's probably the smartest suggestion.
Yeah. So listen, there's also 10 games left,
Yeah.
It's still early in the year as far as that goes. Landon could turn around and have 4 picks for the end of the year, a lot of impact plays, and then it'll be like a no-brainer, right? That he comes, you got to try to sign him. So yeah, but I found it fascinating too, Jerry. It really was to see the response of what people are feeling about towards Landon.
One of the positives out of Thursday is obviously Saquon Barkley is insane, and it still cracks me up that Giant fans still say that we should have drafted Darnold or we should have drafted Rosen or Allen and traded up for Mayfield, because I just, if you took one of those guys behind this offensive line, and the sad thing about Eli is I think he's even, how do I say this? I don't even think he's anywhere close to what he was last year, but you've talked about it. I've talked about it. It's a result of 5 or 6 years of just taking a beating. And that's the sad thing, because he's kind of a legend with the Giants, and he delivered so much for them. And now he's going to go out really with a whimper. I mean, he's going to go out probably not playing the rest of this year. At some point, he's going to go out and probably stay out. But it just cracks me up. You see Barkley, how well he's playing. You see what he's bringing to the table. And I laugh to see what Darnold or someone else would do behind this offensive line that's somehow worse than last year.
Yeah, all it would do was ruin their psyche, right?
Yeah, right.
It would set them back. I mean, you know what? You're seeing that now with guys that have been in the league a few years. I mean, Deshaun Watson is catching a beat behind a horrific offensive line.
Yeah.
Marcus Mariota is getting a beating behind that offensive line, and these are mobile quarterbacks.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you would have drafted a kid this year and put him in, or start putting him in towards the end of the year, and he starts getting a beating from these guys that can't block up front, I mean, that set him back, right? I mean, that's the question that has to be asked.
Yeah, I mean,
and
an example of that, but is David Carr, right? When he was with the Texans, they just threw him out there. He took a beating. Yeah. Probably had more talent than Derek Carr, but he just took such a beating for so long. He was never the same.
Yeah, you have to be very careful, man, because quarterbacks are like babies, right? You have to groom them the right way.
Yeah.
And if they get ruined when they were young age, or in this case, when they're young quarterbacks, it could really, really ruin their career down the road. Listen, everybody, I hate even talking about the Sam Darnold, Barkley stuff.
Yeah, I know.
It's just everybody has an opinion on it.
Yep.
It is what it is. This is the direction the Giants went. And like me and you talked about, Jerry, there's no reason why, you can't draft a quarterback next year. There's a couple of good ones coming out. When a guy like Phil Simms is on, talking on the radio and talking on his Inside the NFL about, there's a lot of good kids coming out this year, so
yeah,
that's a positive sign that the Giants go in that direction, which I do believe 100% they are going to go in that direction, Jerry.
I think it's comical that people don't think the Giants will go quarterback. I mean, look, even if you aren't a Barkley believer, okay, it's then you got to go by the fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. There's no way the Giants are not going quarterback next year. And one of the subjects that the Giant Insider Twitter followers are bringing up is, do you want Derek Carr? And my response to that's pretty simple. It's if the Giants end up 6-10 and somehow are drafting 8, 9, 10, and they don't like the quarterbacks that are out there, then sure, I would take a flyer on someone like Derek Carr. I don't know if I want to inherit all that contract, but I like Derek Carr a lot. I've always liked him, and for some reason, and we talk about it when we do our picks, I think John Gruden's lost his mind. He, for some reason, doesn't like Derek Carr. I think he's running the Raiders into the ground more so than they ever were. I mean, I used to listen to that guy Monday Night Football and think, this guy's got a screw loose now. I mean, he's losing his mind. And now he's running a franchise, getting $100 million. And it sounds like, from everything you hear, that he's not getting along with Derek Carr and wants him out. But my point is, I think the Giants will be picking first, second, or third. I don't see the Giants winning more than 4 games this year, based on everything we've seen. And after seeing Justin Herbert, but beyond me seeing him, Dave Syvertson from Our Lads, who writes in the Giant Insider, and he's an idiot savant with college football. I asked him, right. I said, where do you rank Herbert in relation to the guys last year? And it was interesting. He said he had Rosen 1, Baker Mayfield 2, Sam Darnold 3 last year. And he said, really, Rosen and Mayfield were 1 and 1A. But he put Herbert right after Rosen ahead of Mayfield. He said, there's one guy this year, that's it. It's Justin Herbert. Everyone else has severe flaws. And I don't know if he'll change his mind before the draft, but I thought that was interesting. And from what I saw, I'm far from an expert on scouting, but from what I saw, I see a tall kid who can make every throw, athletic, young. Yeah. Just kind of has all the tools, man.
Yeah, I tell you what, Jared, I'm with you, man. I actually watched the Oregon game Saturday because, sadly enough, even though it's 6 games in, we have to start looking at the future. And I tell you what, man, I texted you during the day, right? I was pretty impressed by Herbert, man. He's a big kid with a big arm. He could run.
Another good kid, good high character kid too.
I didn't even know that. Is that true? Okay.
No, so from what I've read on him, and all the scouts have commented that this is a kid that he's kind of like Eli. He's a very clean prospect and probably has more physical gifts than Eli had.
Okay. Oh yeah. Well, he definitely can move better than Eli. This kid can get out of the pocket. He throws it down. He wings it down the field. Yeah. I was pretty impressed with him Saturday. Here's the positive out of what happened last year is that all the teams that need a quarterback drafted one. So there's only a few left that actually might need a quarterback in the draft next year. And nobody thought the Giants were going to be picking in the top 4 going into the season. Right. Now it looks like they're going to be picking in the top 4. And it looks like they're, like I said, there's only going to be a few teams that actually need one. And I'm including Tampa Bay with that. And if Jameis Winston finishes strong, he had a good game yesterday. If he finishes the year, the last 10 games solid, they're not even going to be looking for one probably. So
everyone's pointing out that Denver's the team that we have to watch out for. But 2 things. One, right now, we're number 1. We're number 32. We're number 1. And 2, Denver played pretty well against the Rams. They're not a team like the Giants where, they can beat good teams. So unless the Giants are picking 2 and there's a team at 1 that doesn't need a QB, then I'd worry about Denver. But unless that's the case, I'm not worried about Denver until we have a better record than them. And I don't think that's going to happen this year. I know Elway is in love with Herbert, but the Giants have sent, I think, scouts 3 weeks in a row to see the kid. So it's safe to say they're probably all in on Justin Herbert, and I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I know they are scouting him, like you said. I don't know if they're all in on him or not. It's way too early for that stuff. But how do you not like that kid? But as far as the records go, listen, the Giants are playing, and in the next 4 games, they're playing 3 very poor defenses. Yeah. So could you see the Giants get a couple wins? Yeah. So listen, when we get into deep November, we'll start looking at that, I guess, right? The records and where we're going to line up and who's going to need a quarterback. But like I just said, Jerry, there's only really a few teams. I went around each team yesterday. Yeah. And there's only a couple teams that are actually going to be possibly looking for a quarterback, So that's good. That's good for the Giants front because I don't think there's any question, Jerry. They will be drafting one. A great
storyline would be if somehow the Broncos could get Derek Carr next year. I know they would never trade with the Broncos, but if they outright released him and the Broncos picked him up, man, that'd be one hell of a storyline in the AFC West, and Raider fans would turn so quickly on John Gruden, man. That's something that I keep an eye on. Another point that everyone's bringing up is, and I think I don't know if it's misguided, but, and you don't want to constantly talk about Jerry Reese because he's gone. I get it. But the reality is the Giants stink because of the job that Jerry Reese did for so long. Now the vitriol seems to be towards Gettleman, and I understand it, right? I understand the free agency aspect of it because he picked up Jonathan Stewart and Connor Barwin and Nate Solder, who's struggling, but I still like Nate Solder, and you got to give him time. Patrick Omame's been awful. Russell Shepard's been okay. So free agency, I'd give Gettleman a D or a D minus. But in the draft, I thought he had a hell of a draft. The first 4 picks, and then who knows what we have with Lauletta. I'm just surprised at the criticism that Gettleman's getting, because I think it's a little misguided based on the job that Reese did running this franchise into the ground.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's just anger too, Jerry. A lot of fans want to blame somebody. So now it's, if it's not Odell, then now it's Gettleman. It seems to be the hot one this week, Yep. You can't, I'm sorry. I understand Gettleman maybe didn't hit, hit a home run on some of these free agents, but a lot of GMs could say that when they sign free agents. I look at the draft. You build a team in this league through the draft, and then you plug in some free agents. Okay. I look at the draft. I thought he had a pretty good first draft. I tell people on Twitter, listen, you got to give this guy a few drafts. Okay, you can't just say, get him with an F, get him and failed us, get him in this. He tried. The Solder thing to me, like you just said, Jerry, I'm not giving up on Nate Solder. He hasn't played that great. I'm not giving up on him. His days in the wing were like this a lot. Very slow at first 4, 3, 4, 5 games. Finishes very strong the last 10, 11. So let's wait on him. Omame was a miss, no question about it. But Will Hernandez, is that a miss?
Omame was like a Giancarlo Stanton whiff out of the strike zone. I mean, Patrick Omame was just John Jerry's better. I mean, Omame was just awful. But you brought up a good point when we were talking. I guess we say off the air, right? How is Andrew Norwell doing?
He's not doing too good, bud.
Right.
I mean, he's been all right, but I tell you what, man, I watched him this year, and even going back to opening game against us, against the Giants, he's been just all right. He hasn't been a dominant left guard like he was in Carolina. Right. I can tell you that, man.
And so much of that is determined by chemistry too.
Yeah, I mean, I know everybody wanted Norwell, but you know what? I tell you what, Johnny, he would have been a big contract too, and I'm pretty happy with Will Hernandez. Will's really coming on. Yeah. He's going to be a fixture over there for 10 years, in my opinion, the left guard. He's getting better and better. Yes, he's had some mistakes, but I think he's still number 1 rated, left guard for rookies in the league, and that's a pretty positive sign. That was a Gettleman draft pick. So all I'm saying is, I know a lot of people are angry. I understand that, Jerry. I get it.
Yeah.
People want to blame people because the Giants are 1-5, and yes, that's the business. I understand. I'm not knocking any fans, anybody on Twitter, anyone saying, get them in this. All I'm saying is that, listen, you got to give the guy a few drafts because he did hit a pretty solid offensive lineman in this draft.
Yep.
He hit some solid defensive linemen. And if he goes out next year and lands another offensive lineman, and then you plug in maybe a free agent, it's a different story. It's a very possible. Now, we said that this year, I understand. They went out and got Omame. Omame's been a whiff, like you said, right? He's been a slider down and away strikeout, right?
Yeah.
You compared him to the Yankee team who lost to Boston in 4 games, right?
They did, yes.
Nate Solder.
Yes. So for those of you who don't know, the guy with the
Nate,
New York accent is a huge Boston Red Sox fan. So go ahead, Chris.
Right, thank you. Nate Solder, like I said, I'm not going to say he's a whiff yet.
Yeah, I'm not going to either. I like Solder. I think his struggles are more that have to do with learning of playing next to Hernandez and just chemistry more than ability. Nate Solder's a good tackle. It's frustrating to watch him miss sometimes, and Barkley all of a sudden gets a 7-yard loss. But I'm not ready to give up on Solder either.
No. You listen, Michael Bennett has done that to a lot of good left tackles in this league. I'm not making excuses, Jerry, but I've seen Michael Bennett do that hundreds of times to quality left tackles blow by them. He happens. Bennett's a pretty good player. He's had a pretty good career, no matter how you feel about him. He's had a pretty good career, and he's great at timing the snap, which is exactly what happened when he beat Solder the other night. But. Listen, Jerry, I'm not giving up on Gettleman. A lot of people are giving. I'm surprised, right, Jerry, on Twitter, how many people are giving up on Gettleman.
You put it out there that you're going to have to give him some time. And most of I'd say 80% of the responses were, it's just a logical thought. But then there were 20% where they were like, no, Gettleman sucks, and you suck for saying it. Like, all right, I guess that's an approach you can take.
Yeah, listen, there's a lot of anger. Jerry, listen, there's a lot of anger out there. And you know what, Jerry? People are right. They're angry, buddy. They're angry. Listen, this is going to be, 6 out of 7, 7, 8 years, whatever it is, no playoffs. And the way to lose it, listen, Jerry, this league, when you lose like you did the other night against the Eagles, that's going to bring out the fire in people even more because a lot of people felt that team in the second half kind of folded the tent.
Sure. You can point to some players that look like they folded.
Yeah, Sherman was pretty pissed off about that when it was brought up to him in the presser after the game. But watching it from the press box, I mean, I saw some guys in the second half on the defensive side that looked like they might have been like throwing the old flag in. I hate to say it, but the key is watching guys swarm to the ball. When you see only 2 guys going to the ball carrier instead of 4, you start saying to yourself, "Oh, what are we doing? What's going on here?" Listen, it's tough. People are pissed, Jerry. People are pissed. I'm pissed. You're pissed.
Oh yes, I am.
Everybody covering the team is pissed.
Yeah. There's a couple of aspects, right? One, season ticket holders who pay damn good money are watching a horrible product. The Giants are 4-19 in their last 23, and the Browns are 3-19-1. So that's where we are. And then lastly, man, I mean, you and I get tired of writing for a newspaper where the team just stinks. It's depressing. You got to constantly try and bring up the positives, or you're always talking about how bad players look, and you don't want to do that. It's much more fun to write about a team that's even 8-8 and kind of on the rise than just an abomination. I don't see 4 wins I don't envision 4 wins for the team this year. But hey, buddy, it is what it is. Let's get to some of these Twitter questions, and I'm going to read some of these names of people. Look, I'm an old person. I'm 43. I guarantee there's hidden meanings in these names, and everyone's going to get a giggle. I have no idea what they mean, so I'm just putting that out there now, that disclaimer. From Joey Donuts, 1 in 15, hashtag Giants Yankees, at Shampoo Poppy. I told him I would ask this, so I'm going to ask you. You can give it very brief. Why do we suck every year?
Have I answered it?
Go ahead, Chris. Go for it. Yeah, it's a good one.
Because Joey Donuts, he sounds like he might be from Brooklyn. I might even know this guy. But why we suck, Joey Donuts? Because we haven't had an offensive line in 6 years.
Yeah. Yep. Barb at Floridagram, probably one of our biggest fans, who well wishes to her husband who's going through chemo and fighting hard, man. He's a true giant in every sense of the word. Are we ever going to have Eli throw more screens? And when are we getting a new center? And I'll try this one. Barb, I think we've thrown more screens lately. And Eli, I know a check down is not a screen, but there were a couple screens that were successful in the Eagle game, and Barkley did something with them. And I mean, a center, we're just not getting one until next year. There's nobody out there. Chris said it last week. Maybe Spencer Pulley will become the center and Greco moves over to guard. But unfortunately, Barb, I think we're stuck with what we have until next year. But hey, Barb, seriously, Chris and I send our best to your husband and tell him to keep fighting. And yeah, it's really nice when people send in a picture of their husband in the hospital reading the Giant Insider. That's kind of why we do all this. And
during chemo, Jerry.
During chemo. Yeah. And you get aggravated. Like, man, I wish I could write better news for this guy. But anyway, thoughts and prayers to Barb and her husband.
Thinking about you, Bob. Thinking about you.
Absolutely. From Pesto de Merda at man, I can't even pronounce this. Pitch Chat Sheck, whatever. How many years are we away from being a real contender, or at least from good football? It's actually a good question.
That's a real good question. I'm up for that one.
Yeah, go ahead.
I believe we could be 2 years away from back in the playoffs. I think we're going to draft
2020. You mean?
Yeah, I'm going to go 2020. I think we're going to draft a quarterback next year. Obviously, got to improve that offensive line. I think everything will be settled. The foundation will be laid. I'm going to go with 2020, and we will win the division in 2020 with our new quarterback, Gettleman's new offensive line, and that's what I'm going with, bud.
All right. Vincent,
you don't like that answer, do you?
No, I agree with it. It's just like next year's going to be another fall.
You're like, yeah, okay. Like I'm pissed off. You pissed off. I didn't say 2019.
No, I believe you, because I just thought the same thing. Okay. It's 2000. And for those of you who don't know, Chris and I never sign our initials to the tweets because we generally agree on 99% of where the franchise is headed. Vincent Zoller, Zahler, at Vincent Zoller. That's the first normal name I've read. What are the chances that Jack Rabbit and Vernon are both moved in the offseason? You can handle that one.
I think there's a very good chance Jack Rabbit does not come back. He will be salary cap casualty. Vernon played well the other night. If Vernon plays solid the rest of the year, I think there's a good chance he comes back. Because why? Because he is an edge rusher, and when healthy, you saw what he could do when he's healthy, right?
Yep.
He was healthy the other night, and he caused a little havoc in that first half with Wentz. Had the sack, had a few pressures. You know what? I said this before, Jerry, and you did agree with me because we always agree basically. He's really good against the run too, OV.
Yeah.
You know, he's good off that seal against the run, off that edge. So I think, obviously he's a big salary cap number. But I believe OV will be back. But I do not believe Janoris Jenkins will be back next year.
Yeah, so do I. I think if you get rid of Olivier Vernon, you just create another problem. Like you're getting rid of your best pass rusher and a linebacker. Like we're already low on linebackers. If you get rid of Vernon, you're just compounding the problem. I think Jack Rabbit will be a casualty, and I think, unfortunately, I hate saying it, but I think it's because of some of the effort he's shown the last 2 years when things go bad. I mean, that Alshon Jeffrey 2-yard touchdown, he didn't even contest it. And he's missed tackles against Carolina, where the guy, your buddy from Brooklyn, the guy who scored on the screen pass, he missed 2 tackles on the same play. He missed it at the line, and he did chase the guy down, but he missed it again. So I think Jenkins will go. I know the Giants are high on Sam Beal, the supplemental pick, even though we didn't see a thing that he did because he got hurt right away. But I think cornerback is going to be a top 3-round pick next year after quarterback and offensive line. But I agree with you.
Hey, you know what, Jerry, just quickly with that, I mean, OV goes back next year. Tell me you can't pitch a pretty good combination off the edges with OV and Lorenzo Carter in his second year next year, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see.
And Romeo Aquara, he's like a sax machine. Oh, wait a minute, he's not on our team anymore. Okay, go ahead.
That was a bad cut, and I know you're a Golden Domer, but that was a guy they should have kept, man. I mean, he was cheap. It's not like it was Devin Kennard where you knew it was going to cost you money. Aquara was cheap. That didn't make any sense to me either.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a surprise. I thought he was coming on and talked about that before. And his brother's pretty good as a Golden Domer himself, too, over there in Notre Dame. But go ahead, buddy. Continue on. Sometimes I like to get my 7-0 Fighting Irish in there. Go ahead.
No, I think you should. We had a few political questions that I'll ignore because we don't get political on this Twitter account.
Political about the Giants?
Well, they compared. I'm not even going to get into it. It was just it was kind of annoying.
Oh, is this the guy who said, "Can Trump help us out?"
Yeah, can Trump become GM since he knows everything?
You know what? Whoever tweeted that, I forgot who it was. If Trump could, I would write to him because I'll take any help right now.
Yeah, that was a good comment. It made me laugh, but I just
that was pretty funny. Yeah, that was funny.
I just say, listen, man, we don't want to alienate half of our Twitter followers by basically saying if we're right or left, and you'll never find out. So, Just Joe, my buddy from North Wildwood / North Jersey.
Yeah, you guys are pretty tight. Yeah.
Well, he's got good taste in the Jersey Shore, even though he's in North Wildwood and I'm in the Crest. Surfing _392, Just Joe. He's changed his name a few times, but we recognize him. Yeah. He's another faithful
He's a good man.
follower.
He's a good man, Joe. I like Joe.
He is. Okay, serious question. I'm not trying to kick the hornet's nest. Yeah, me neither, Joe. Don't worry about it. The season is done. Should we leave Eli in at quarterback? Should we start looking at what our backups can do? Well, we kind of answered that one already.
We can't answer that one.
I should have given him the.
The credit.
Yeah, the credit early on. That's my fault.
Yeah.
Vince at Vinnie Merck. What's the average time Eli has in the backfield before he has to get out of the pocket or get sacked? Maybe 2.5 seconds. Is that enough time to say he's not good? This is fun, man.
Well, when they play the Eagles, the answer is about 0.2 seconds. Oh God. Yeah, you answer that one, Jerry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know, guys. I mean, I think Eli. If at this point, if you gave Eli 4 seconds, he's going to hear the rush. Someone, Kevin Gleason, who is a phenomenal writer for the Giant Insider. I mean, I edit, but it's a joke that I have to edit his because I never correct one thing. He's one of the best writers I've ever seen. He wrote a positive piece thinking the Giants can come back this year. I don't know what drugs he's taking, but he said, I think he made the comment that Eli feels the rush when he breaks the huddle. And I thought that was kind of poetic. Here's a good one. Would you trade Eli Manning to Jacksonville for a third round pick? Now, that's from Don Gross at Donald Gross.
That's an interesting one.
And Eli has a no trade. Eli has a no trade clause, so I don't know how that would work. He'd have to sign off on it, and then Jacksonville would have to pick up part of his salary. But I guess would I do that? Yeah, because he's not the future anyway. I mean, it's like get something for him now.
Jerry, can I just touch on that one quickly?
Yeah.
Pretty interesting because I was just talking about this with a few people about what if Blake Bortles looks. Listen, Jacksonville is a favorite, right, in the AFC, one of the favorites. They just got smoked 2 games in a row. I mean, Dallas humiliated them yesterday, right?
Yep.
So I was talking about what happens if Bortles looks horrible in October and they're around, say, what do we have, 3 games left this month, whatever it is? 3 games. So what if they're 5-4, and that division nobody's running away with it, right?
Yeah.
And Bortles doesn't look good, and the trading deadline is Halloween, October 31st.
Yep.
Right. I mean, there's one team that might be interested in Mr. Manning's services, and that would be Tom Coughlin. What if that does pop up to the Giants about, hey, are you guys interested in moving him?
I think it's something they should visit and definitely investigate. And before I forget, man, Jalen Ramsey's post-game press conference yesterday at his locker.
Comical.
Oh, guys, we have it on our Twitter feed. If you can get it, if you can find it, Google it. It is hilarious. And it's hilarious because he's a baby, right? I mean, he talks so much crap all year about everybody, and they asked him, 10 questions in a row, and to everyone he just said, I don't know. And it was, I laughed my butt off, man. I thought it was funny as hell.
Yeah, it was classic.
Here's a good one. As a controversial one, I'm going to put you on the spot. From NYG Giants fan 74 at Giants fan 74. If the Giants are going in rebuilding mode next year and looking for a new quarterback, do you think they consider trading Odell Beckham Jr.?
No.
I'll let you go first, Chris.
I know you'll let me handle this one. If they're going to I mean, I think if somebody blew them away with an offer, I think they would definitely consider it.
Yeah.
Because I think they'll be a little concerned about next year with Odell and a new quarterback, with a rookie quarterback. When a rookie quarterback comes to the sidelines and sees the star receiver hitting his head against the fan, or going on TV with the Method Man or something talking about, the new kid can't get the ball downfield, and that would really hurt the new guy, the future franchise's quarterback's sights. I don't know. If somebody came up with some unbelievable trade offer, I think they definitely would consider that.
I think all things would be on the table. The issue there is how much of the salary cap hit are you willing to take? If they traded him now, I think it's like a $17 million hit. I think next year it'd be $6 million. But listen, I don't think they're going to trade him, and I've been very clear on where I stand with Odell. But would they trade him? I guess if the offer, like you said, was good enough, they'd consider. I think if a team said, here's a first and a second or a first and a third, I think that, again, not to always use the comparison, but just the Brad Van Pelt, George Young line of we can go 3-12-1 without you. I mean, we've won 1 year with Beckham, and it's not his fault, obviously, but we haven't been a very good team with him. So, I mean, we can, I guess, stink without him. Last question, buddy, and it's just a gem of a question. The creativity here is incredible, and we'll leave it at this. I don't even know if it deserves a response, but it's funny. Big Blue Brady at KBrady56. Is Kerry Collins available? So, you know what?
He is. Wherever he's living now, I'm sure he's available.
So, all right, buddy, that's it. Thanks as always, Chris. This one was fun, and to the Twitter followers, we'll do this weekly if you guys like it, and we're getting more and more downloads. So we're available on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify. There was a few other ones we signed up for. The names are escaped. I think Overcast and something else tunes. I don't know, man. You lose track of all these. And we also post this podcast right on the Twitter account. We put it as a pinned tweet. But, go on and give us a rating of 5, please, and just say nice things about us. And We really appreciate it. Subscribe. It's free, and you'll get the updates every time we drop a new one. And also, guys, importantly, be sure to order a copy of the Giant Insider newspaper. Go to www.giantinsider.com or visit Magster, magzter.com for a digital subscription. Yearly subscriptions for the paper copies are $39.95, and the digital version's only $17 for a yearly subscription. 14 issues a year, bi-weekly during the season, monthly in the off-season. The next podcast will be Friday night, October the 19th at 8 p.m. And order the magazine, man. It's a good newspaper. We have tons of dissenting opinions, guys. Chris is the beat writer. Chris writes 3 to 4 articles a week. My stupid opinions in there every week. Kevin Gleason, John Fennelly, Mike Advensky. All these guys live, eat, sleep, breathe New York Giant football, and it's a lot of different opinions. And like I said, this week, it's kind of a depressing issue, but Kevin Gleason gives everybody hope. But thanks for listening to a Giant Insider podcast, everyone. I'm Jerry Foley. He's Chris Bisignano. And remember, guys, Sundays are Giant days. Take care, everybody.
15 seconds to air.
Bye-bye.
Stand by, all cameras.
Ready with slow motion and isolated cameras.
Stand by, videotape, and roll tape.
And tape is rolling in less than 5, in 3, 2, 1.
Take tape.